What's up, everybody? And welcome to episode 24 of the podcast. We actually just finished filming it. What an episode. I don't know what happened, but I'll tell you what, we traveled the world. If you're ready to watch me smoke weed and listen to my dad talk about a bunch of crazy history, then this is the episode for you. We have some fun, and it made me realize that, holy shit, I need to do more of these episodes. And not so much just for, post on the internet, but I want to have these because they're special. It's cool to have a recording conversation with my father and to be able to share that with his granddaughter, even if we are smoking weed and talking. I don't give a fuck. It was a good time, and I'm ready to share it with you guys too. So, buckle up. Get ready to check out this episode. I'm not plugging anything at the beginning of this because I plugged the website at the end. So thank you, everybody, and hope you enjoy it. Man, the other night I was after I talked to you, I looked up a bunch of stuff about that Three Gorges Dam.
Did you really?
Yeah, I found a lot.
That's pretty fucked up.
That's crazy.
Did you get the satellite pictures?
Yeah.
Did you see the original picture when they opened the dam, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you see the latest pictures that were taken about a week or so ago? Do you see the deformity in the dam?
You can see the ripple in it. Before we go to, just real quick, what is the Three Gorges Dam? Just briefly,
Three Gorges Dam is what the CCP built. It's the largest dam on the planet. It holds back a lake that's 300 miles long. It's approximately, at the face of the dam, I believe it's 160 meters.
Holy shit.
Okay, so this is a dam, and you got to realize that in Central China, it's the Yangtze River. It's the main river that all the stories of China come out of. Genghis Khan, all the rulers, the Qin dynasty, the one that founded China.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. This dam was supposed to, there's no dam in history. I mean, there's been no rainstorms or floods in history. This dam can't hold back. Typical man point of view.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Like the Titanic.
The
I was just gonna say that.
Exactly. Just like the Titanic. Well, the one problem is it wasn't that they didn't listen to the geologists. This dam, behind the dam, the water goes up and down 30 meters. Which is, let's say, 80 feet.
Yeah, 80, 90 feet.
80 feet. Now, you have real steep gorges.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, think about around in our valley, the mudslide that happened. Now, you think about if you had water going up and down in those valleys, you'd saturate those hills.
Yeah.
As that water dropped, everything slides.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's happening behind the dam. Along with these unprecedented rainstorms. And China has, their rivers come from the Tibetan Plateau.
Yeah.
And I was telling you before about that you have three major ice sheets: Antarctica, Arctic, and Tibetan Plateau.
Yeah. How is Greenland not considered one of those ice sheets?
It's part of the Arctic.
Okay.
It's all part of the Arctic. It's part of the Arctic.
Okay.
Okay. And what's happened is because of industrialization, just like what the Soviets did, they changed the course of the rivers that went into the Oral Sea.
Yeah.
And you know about that.
Yeah.
Okay. And they changed it, and they took the largest freshwater lake on the planet and drained it.
Yeah. It's insane.
It's a desert.
Insane.
Well, the Chinese.
So there were so many people that lived around that
lake. You
lake.
can't say the Chinese.
What was the name of that lake again?
The Oral.
But no, it has a new name now because there's a northern and a southern part.
Right. Well, they
because the northern part in Kazakhstan, they've refilled it, right? Kazakhstan's protecting
Unfortunately, part of the deal of refilling that lake
was killing another lake.
No, there was a dam built by the CCP. Again, I don't like to say the Chinese because it's not the Chinese.
No.
It's the CCP.
I feel for the Chinese. I hope nothing happens to the Three Gorges Dam. I
Well,
pray for those people.
unfortunately, you see the deformation
It's
in the
scary.
dam. Oh yeah, I mean, but in Kazakhstan, when the Soviet Union broke up, they have all this Turkmenistan and Pakistan and
Yeah.
all these different countries and
Yeah.
such. And
Borat.
but yeah, Borat.
There we
Good.
go.
Yeah. 3 years ago, the Chinese are trying to, or the CCP is trying to reopen the old Silk Road.
Yeah.
That the land route between Europe across Asia, okay? So they're working deals with all these countries, and they built this dam. Well, the dam failed this year, 3 years after it was built.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and the quality of work that's being done in China, some of it might look really extraordinary, but a lot of it
Yeah.
is really bad.
They just moved a little too quick to the project, maybe.
Yeah, I was trying to, you'll get people that'll start a business,
Yeah.
okay, and they make a bunch of money and they think they're rich. They
Yeah.
got a big pile in front of them, and they don't think about that pile of money.
Yeah.
They just go out and spend it like crazy. Oh, we got so much money, we're going to
Yeah.
spend. Well, they went a little too crazy.
Yeah.
They
Happens to
should've-
the best of us.
Yeah. They should've- they
I feel like
should've-
China's the elders, though. They're like a 5,000 plus
Well,
year old religion.
again, it's so restricted in China. Again, there's only, I think it's out of, 1.5 billion people, there's only 100 million or 90 million members of the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah.
And the rest of the country is, they do what they're told. But
Yeah.
again, we're only 100 years away from imperialism.
Yeah.
You had all the kings and queens and duchies and dukes and all these people running around, okay?
Yeah.
That age only ended less than
Yeah.
a century ago.
Yeah, it was not long ago.
No. 2 major global wars were fought.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we had a 40-year Cold War.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up in.
Talking about the Cold War, do you know where bikinis got their name?
Yeah.
Do you really know where?
Yeah, Bikini Island. That's
Fuck,
where they
you
started the first nuke test.
Fuck, you know everything.
The first nuke test.
I thought I had something. I was gonna be like, check me out,
no.
Dad.
That's, in fact, they set off
Let's tell the people though real quick. Where do bikini bathing suits get their name?
from Bikini Atoll in the Central Pacific. I think it's in the Marianas.
Yeah.
In the Mariana
And it
Islands.
was because the maker of the bikini bathing suit was like, I'm gonna call it bikini because the reaction socially is gonna be like a nuclear weapon going off.
Exactly.
And the Pope said that the bikini was a sin against humanity or something. It
Oh
was like-
yeah. Well, again, you're looking at you can't judge people by your standards of this time.
You have to judge
It's
all
a
the-
whole different age.
Yeah.
But one of the great things about being in this country is when you had those old imperial powers and that making, like, again, the Vatican,
Yeah.
people have to realize the Holy Roman Empire
Never
did not-
died.
It ceased being a country
Yeah.
around the early 1800s after the Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah.
Okay? So, that's when it started splitting up. You got all these little principalities all through Central Europe that became Germany.
Yeah.
Okay? And again, there was, whatever your religion is, it doesn't matter. We're all trying to get to the same place. But again, in an imperialism, my group is better than your group.
Yeah.
The First World War.
That's called ego. We talk about ego a lot on the
Yeah,
podcast,
well,
and our
it's-
ego is all wars.
If
I
you
feel like
read about the First World War basically was like, you're having a family dinner, and Uncle Fred comes in, and he's a total dick.
This is World War One. You're
Well, this is
You're
wo-
breaking down how World War One actually
It
happened.
actually happened.
Okay.
You have to understand that every king in Europe, all the colonial powers in the world, they were all great-grandchildren
They're all family members.
of Queen Victoria.
Are we gonna go deep on the Rothschild conspiracy after this, or what's going on?
The Rothschilds. You can't use that name, the Rothschilds conspiracy, okay, or their money.
Tell me about World War One first.
Okay, let's finish World War One. So basically, what it is it was a family squabble.
Yeah.
And they all chose up sides, like families do. And instead of in a family argument going, "You're an asshole," well, you're an asshole, and you get in a fight, and it's all over with.
They sent thousands of people to die.
Millions of people to die.
Oh, God.
Millions. And
it's disgusting.
And what was really sad, you didn't have the mass communication you had today.
Yeah.
Because if they did, they would have watched old programs of the Civil War. Because the Civil War was the precursor to what World War I was.
Yeah.
The Civil War, you had guys lined up in straight lines, marching across the field, and the guys over there had cannons and guns, and you marched in straight lines, and the idea was to overrun them.
Yeah.
Well, industry, they created better weapons to kill one another.
Yeah.
So in World War I, they had machine guns, massive. I mean, there's.
It was like you were watching people fight with like these new weapons, but like in their head they hadn't evolved to that point of having.
They were still fighting like in the Revolutionary War time.
The technology advanced past where their capacity was yet, so they were just mowing each other down. Didn't like, oh my God, I'm killing hundreds of people instantly. This is
absolutely.
So easy now. Like,
well, they in the Battle of the Somme. I always say that wrong. I have a hard time, even though I took 4 years of French. I don't. That's all I remember. But,
That's all I know. That's all I know.
But in one battle and one day, and these numbers may be off a little bit, but on the British side in one day, they lost like 40,000 men in one charge.
And back then, you know, like there wasn't as many people on the planet.
Well, no, I figure in 1800
there was 2 billion, right?
No, in 1800 there's 1 billion people on the planet.
That's it.
Yeah, in 1800. So by 1900 we got up to about 2, I think it was.
So in the last 100 years we've like tripled, or? Well,
we went from 2 billion to near 7 billion.
See, I remember I dropped out, you know, so I'm not good at math.
So did I.
I know. Look at us go.
Yeah. Well, no. The reason they didn't want me in school anymore because they had a hard time when they were teaching certain propaganda, like George Armstrong Custer was a great American hero. The guy was a megalomaniac,
and no one listening knows who he is.
Nobody. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. This guy.
I grew up with a lot of history, folks, but I love it. It's all I listen to now. I listen to podcasts and history podcasts while I drive around. Instead of listening to music, I put my phone up and I put it Bluetooth it to the car, and I listen to like hardcore history, like the Dan Carlin show. Like I love the one on Genghis Khan, and it's incredible. Like he killed 10% of the world's population while he was alive.
All those countries that are west of China, Genghis Khan would come into a city. Now, the city could sit there, throw their doors open, go, Genghis, you're the tech.
We love you. We love you.
Come on in here. Take my daughters.
Yeah.
You know?
He still kills
or there's like in Bactra, which is Afghanistan now.
Yeah.
That main city that they came to in Bactra was started by Alexander the Great. Mm-hmm. So it gives you a context of how old it was.
Yeah.
It
was already old when Genghis Khan got
there. It
there.
was 1,500 years old.
Yeah.
The only thing...
Put into context, how old's America? 280?
Well, it was 6... Well, America itself, you can't clump American history with... Christopher Columbus come to New World 1492.
Yeah, you got to tie it to Leif Erikson in 1100 when he came here, and the Vikings.
Or before that, because that's a whole nother
Did you know the largest fossilized poop ever found came from a Viking?
And they found berserkers.
And they found mostly wheat and barley in there. They ate mostly grain.
They had I don't know where.
Did you know that Vikings sold people unicorn horns?
I'm sure they did.
No, but check this out, because they had a settlement in Greenland, and they found a really mysterious whale out there known as the narwhal.
Yeah.
And they would harvest the narwhal horns and bring them back to fucking Europe and sell them to kings and queens as unicorn horns. And then they would make thrones out of them, crowns out of them.
What do you think
And then,
Vikings were, though?
They were fucking hustlers, and
They were. That's what they did. They had a technology with their long ships, and they just went everywhere.
we have gone everywhere too. Genghis Khan, Vikings, World War One.
Yeah.
Where are we right now?
I know.
What is
Let's
happening?
go back to World War One.
Okay,
we're
sure.
Talk about. Okay.
What do you think, Mark? Isn't this crazy, bro?
I think you guys missed the intro, but
Oh, I'm gonna make it after when we're done. We're gonna rock out. We're gonna rock out. We're gonna do an outro and intro after.
You're in the man babble zone.
Oh yeah,
This is. I did this with his grandmother. I would come home when I was in high school, and she'd be sitting in her front room, and she was a brilliant person. She wrote the most amazing poetry and prose. But she would sit with you till 4 o'clock in the morning, and any idea you had, I mean, as bizarre or as disconnected.
We're gonna get into some of those in a little bit.
Oh, those are easy to do because people.
so she would just talk to you. She would just be like, or you would come home and you would be like, I got some stuff to unleash. Let's go.
No, we just talk.
Just ideas.
And see, in my family, we read books, and we read. I mean, my brother John, your Uncle John, described how we should have looked in the '60s, and in the '60s, it was the guy with, we called them the briefcase boys.
I love that band.
Yeah. And my brother goes, we should have looked like the guys with the high water pants, the shirt with the button here, with the plastic pencil liner,
Yeah.
with a slide rule. And
Yeah,
pencils.
I know what the 50s, 60s guy was supposed to look
Yeah,
like.
well, we didn't look like that.
No.
We thought and brought up like that, but we didn't look like
Yeah.
that. We were all, we played sports. We weren't addicted to sports.
Yeah.
We played sports. But, so...
I feel like I was never really good at sports. I was alright at basketball for a little bit.
No, you played basketball like Larry Bird. That's why you skateboarded so well. You've got this, I've watched you, you have this lower...
It's called gut energy. You throw your gut in whatever direction you want, carries you. Momentum.
Yeah, no, you could tell. See,
No, I was skinnier then.
No, it has nothing to do with it either. It has to do with your center of balance. I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
That was the sport I liked because it was one-on-one.
All right, World War One, Family Feud.
Okay. Family Feud.
We're
back.
back.
All right. So,
But I just want to
what was the point of that?
I don't know. We were just talking about how families and ego fight, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does because I want to be able to.
Because you know what? I think, well, here's one thing I want to talk to you about because you got to watch all the Graham Hancock stuff, right? About civilization being way older than, we're taught.
Well, see, you listen to a specific person.
Well, I listen to a lot of different people, but I don't think aliens built stuff. I think it was humans. I just think that humans have been to high levels of consciousness over thousands of years.
You get these guys on TV and there was a guy, Eric Von Donigan.
Yeah.
He is the grandfather to all these
Yeah, he's the
people.
Anunnaki guy.
Yeah, and
that's Warner. No, that's not Warner von Braun. He's the Nazi that built the.
Yeah, he was a Nazi that was brought to the United States
To build spaceships.
and then we glorified him, and
Yeah.
that's a whole
fucking
different
crazy.
thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't like Nazis.
No.
They kind of irritate
It's
me a little.
crazy. Wasn't that Operation Paperclip where they got where Russia and America split up all the Nazi scientists between each other?
That's Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
No. Where'd you? Operation Paperclip. I know that.
That's what that is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's
what-
when they-
they split up the scientists between Russia, I believe.
No,
Fuck.
Operation You got to look that up because I don't think it had to do with that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Operation Paperclip. For some reason, it's either espionage or nukes. For some reason.
No. Well, yeah, nukes because they split up the scientists.
Well,
that,
they didn't
design-
split them up. It was armies going. You know that piece of paper?
I thought they had them in a room and they were both sitting I pick you dodgeball.
No,
my
no,
team, my
no,
team.
No.
And we got.
The Americans were.
This is World War II now.
We're
We're
in World War II.
We're in World War
because
II
you
now.
just jumped.
I
to the Second World
I
War.
just want to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
I just want,
In World War II, remember the leaflet I showed you?
Yeah.
That was dropped?
yeah.
There was a reason for that. The head of all Allied forces was Dwight Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Okay. He goes, well, the Soviets been fighting so hard. Let them fight and take Berlin. Well, all the main scientists weren't in Berlin. They were all over the country. A lot of them near the French border, and the rocket program was right on, on the edge of the Baltic Sea, Denmark, that area. So when they developed the V1, the V2, it could reach London. Okay, so as the Allies said to the Soviets, you deserve to take Berlin because of all the horrific atrocities. Well, the United States went after all the launch sites, all the jet factories. The ME-262 was the first operational fighter jet.
Yeah.
Okay. They went after all of them and took them out. And the Soviets did the same thing, dismantled whole factories, took everything.
Just like they did to Tesla.
Yeah, well, unfortunately with Tesla, we
don't even know what the fuck he had.
what they took from Tesla.
I think it's so, I can't believe where I live, where I ended up. So many I don't know. I love Tesla's history. It's so
again, Tesla. When I was a kid,
the numbers he's obsessed with are my birthday, dude.
I know that. With the sacred geometry.
Well, it's vortex math. Yeah. It's like the 369 triangle within
right.
the vortex.
Sacred geometry.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
But everything that Tesla did, if you saw the corporatists, Edison, Westinghouse, these guys. They don't want to let stuff out. It's just like Tesla had an idea of giving free energy to the planet.
Yeah.
Okay?
Makes him
he was in the same mold as Jonas Salk.
The guy that penicillin, right?
No.
What was it?
Polio vaccine. And he gave it away to the world. He didn't sit there and go, boy, I'm going to make a lot of money.
There should be statues of that fucking dude around. How incredible is that? He could have been a billion trillionaire, but instead he just gave it away.
But instead he thought it was... He acted like your great-grandfather used to say. Are you an animal or a human being?
Yeah.
Animals do things out of instinct. Humans do things out of compassion.
Yeah. Which
one are you? And you could tell what that guy was. He goes, that's a human if I can save one life, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because all life's important.
Absolutely.
No life is unimportant,
100%. But yeah, I don't know. Tesla's definitely an interesting character. What's the craziest... if you want to talk about craziest psychedelic experience or anything you've seen on psychedelics, like visuals.
Oh, me? Oh, because there's so many different... Again, with psychedelics, now, we had, back in the 60s, you had Orange Barrel. Orange Sunshine was one that if you look back, everybody, oh, wow. I mean, and this stuff was, if you had one hit of Orange Sunshine, 4 people could do it.
Yeah.
And they were the size of a little tiny tablet.
They're just more potent?
They were anywhere between 550 mics to 750 mics. Most of the psychedelics today people get and stuff, 50, 60 mics.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay? That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And
that's what it is. Not enough mics. Who's Mike?
Who's Mike? Yeah, he was a jerk. He left. No, I mean, you had Osley. Osley acid was... the first LSD to become public before LSD was illegal in the mid-'60s. They would have parties in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you would have 10,000 people in the field, in one of the parks in San Francisco. That's where the Grateful Dead and all them, Jefferson Airplane, Elephant's Memory, Holly Near, all these musicians. They would all go out, and people go around with sugar cubes or an eyedropper.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the day, and give every person in the park, 10, 20,000 of them, I mean, they were just blasted.
10 or 20,000 people?
Yeah.
All tripping?
All tripping, all at once. And,
oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really... Well, when I was in high school, we had a place that was... the best way to describe it is like Middle Earth, like going to the Glade.
Yeah.
Okay? And we would go out there early in the morning. Everybody from their parents' house would snag something to eat
Yeah.
And drinking really wasn't a big thing.
No.
Drinking beer, beer was so shitty back then.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could get a 6-pack of Peel's Real Draft for 99 cents, and you'd be guaranteed to have the shits and the headache for a week. Stuff
God.
is terrible. Just terrible.
So you guys would just kind of put together your own like gatherings out in this area?
All of us would get together, and we would just trip all day.
I think that's like a timeless thing that like youth and people do, and I worry that like is our world, do you think everything that's going on is going to make it different? Like, do you think my daughter is going to grow up in a different world where maybe it's not?
I think I really have tremendous faith in mankind.
Yeah.
Just like when I talk about the CCP, I'm not talking about the Chinese people.
No.
Who are just...
You're talking about the powers that be. Just like I feel like when people hate America, they don't hate America. Like, I mean,
they don't like the
hate
government,
the powers
or they
to be
have
or something.
They listen to propaganda. They have a preconceived idea, or even the most basic thing of jealousy.
Have you ever, when on a crazy psychedelic experience, have you ever experienced any sort of like being or life or spirit or anything? You've never told me any stories like that. You just said you've done everything.
Here's a freak out one.
Okay.
Okay. There was acid called purple haze.
Yeah.
And again, if one hit is good, 4 should be great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is fine if you plan out your destruction. Okay. Yeah. Do not go to a high school basketball game.
Yeah.
Go in, not off yet, and sit in the stand and start getting off. Now you've got about 800-900 mics of LSD in you, and
oh God,
and you're going. All the sound is woo, woo, woo,
yeah,
and everything going on, and your eyes are like,
Yeah.
And I remember getting up and just running out. Right, when we went to Cave of the Winds,
yeah,
I ran like
right
that,
like that.
just like that.
Just gone.
Right? I remember the head cheerleader going, "Joe, what's going on?" I was gone, man. Then I just started walking.
Yeah.
I walked for like 6 hours. I go, okay, all right, reality's kind of close. I can feel it coming back.
So would you say that like for you then like LSD was more just like that, or what's like what like where?
Well, see, again,
because some people have different experiences. Like, are mushrooms more intense for you? Like, what's
no, again, LSD psychedelics. You can't compare LSD to psilocybin to mescaline.
Yeah.
Because they react all differently.
Yeah. So you've done like a mescaline, like peyote. Have you done?
Oh yeah, peyote buttons. The thing that you have to realize when you eat peyote.
Quaaludes. Just glucoids, abinoids. I don't even know what that is. Anything?
You had, and let's say it's. Before Quaaludes, they had barbiturates. They had
that sounds like something like Betamax or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's exactly what it's like. The Rolling Stones wrote a song, Mama's Little Helpers.
Yeah.
Well, people were, again...
So in like the 40s and 50s, like
40s
moms
and 50s and 60s.
Just doing lots of uppers and downers all day.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to go in and see a bottle of Black Beauties that were, these things, you do one of them.
So people are on speed all day and then hitting Quaaludes at night.
Not Quaaludes, no. They're doing barbiturates.
Barbiturates.
Which is a totally...
It sounds like an insult, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it just knocks you down. It's like taking a quart of Patron and going, go, go, go,
So what you're saying is you've never seen or experienced any sort of like intelligent life while like having a psychedelic experience that you remember. Like, have you ever done DMT or anything?
Well, what they called DMT back then.
Yeah.
And what you guys call ecstasy and all that.
MDMA,
we called it MDA, methyl diphenamine amphetamine. It was a psychedelic speed.
Yeah.
Which is not a real good thing.
But
because
what
it's
if you're
a
listening
man-made chemical.
What if you're listening to really cool music, though?
Well, again, we would have Nan and Daddy Joe's house. Do you remember the barn?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
that was the psychedelic shack for our town. And people would go up there, and I had the thing with black lights and everything else. I wish I had...
Just go up there and trip on weekends or weeknights. Or
Daddy Joe would come out. Stuart Thrush one time, I've talked about him before.
Yeah.
Daddy Joe comes out one in the morning. Who the hell's in the barn?
That's not the homeless guy I found in the tub when I was a kid,
No,
right?
that was Storm and Norman. He was.
No, you can't say that because that's actually it wasn't Storm and Norman.
That was Bruce.
His name was Bruce because Storm and Norman is a very
His name was
talented young glassblower
No,
in our
is
community.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a crusher.
He's his name
He
was,
wasn't naked in our tub.
His name was Norman Bruce.
Yeah, Norman Bruce. Okay. So
Okay.
his nickname was Storm and Norman back in the 70s or 60s.
I met Bruce in '77, and he was a veteran. He was the best upholsterer I ever knew.
Oh, and he did a good stool.
I mean, you look. He did lots of antique furniture,
Yeah.
and so he was an amazing artist.
I'm not belittling. I just made
Oh, no,
water
but-
spin and pipes.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I'm-
no. I mean, yeah. I love when you minimize that. That's great. But there's a term, John Barleycorn bit him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but who marched elephants over the Italian Alps and attacked
Hannibal.
Rome? Hannibal.
That
And-
was during the Punic Wars.
Exactly. And do you know what he did to get those elephants motivated to make them climb those
I
mountains?
do know this, but
He fed them figs because they're allergic, and it'd make them itch, and it'd make them aggressive, ready for war, and they were battle elephants.
Oh yeah.
But he lost.
I
something-
never heard that they fed him figs.
He made a fig paste that they were allergic to, and he'd feed it to them, and he'd rub it all over them, so they'd get all itchy and aggravated, and they'd send them into war. And he lost 96% of his elephants on his march through the Italian Alps, which I thought was crazy. There's
he
huge.
came through Spain,
Yeah.
and then went along the Mediterranean coast, then through the through the Alps, let's call it.
Yeah, part of it. But the elephants were going up these steep passes that they weren't equipped for, and they were dying left and right. They find huge pits of like 30 elephant
Oh, yeah.
skeletons. Like he started with something like almost 400 elephants.
Do you know where Hannibal's people came from?
Carthage.
Carthage.
Yeah.
But do you know who they were?
They were the Mycenaeans before that.
You're going back too far.
Too far. I go far. I
The
go deep.
Mycenaeans, the Mycenaean civilization, that was the one that on, oh gosh, what's the island? Santorini.
Santorini, yeah.
Santorini.
They blew up.
It blew up.
And they think that's why Carthage fell, though, is because that fucking volcano went off.
No.
But they proved it wrong, right?
No. Carthage wasn't even a thing then.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, it wasn't a thing. Carthage was founded by the Phoenicians,
Yeah.
who were all along the Mediterranean coast, let's say from Egypt all the way up to like
Do you want
Turkey.
that? I got some really
Sure.
good hash.
And when they got displaced by the Archimedean Empire, like Xerxes,
Yeah.
okay, the Persians, you can't.
But okay, 300 paints one picture of the Persians, but I listened to tons of the Persians actually sound like I'd be like the Greeks are like those badass motherfuckers, but the Persians seem like they are way more accepting to religion and
That
people
was
living
Cyrus
their
the
own life.
Great that founded the Achaemenid
It was
Empire.
Xerxes' father, right? Or
Grandfather.
no, grandfather. yeah.
Grandfather. And he was a man way ahead of his time. I mean, we're talking literally probably millennia ahead of his time, because he would go in, cool, you want to be part of the empire? Fine. He would leave some people in charge, but he let all the people do their thing.
Yeah.
I'm your king, don't screw up.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the Romans, they were the start of that attitude of, like, what Hitler did, Yeah. The Romans would come in and just wipe out. And Genghis Khan, which I didn't finish one thing about him going in, like, to Bactria.
Let's do it.
And the Romans did, well, Genghis Khan followed what the Romans did. They didn't go with him. He would kill every man, woman, and child,
I know, it's
deflesh them, and take all their skulls and build pyramids of skulls.
He was an artist.
And this was to tell anybody that happened to be going by going, wow, we should really fuck with this guy.
Yeah.
We should come to dinner, take my wife.
And why aren't people tearing down his statues?
Who, Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
In China?
I'm just saying, like, if it seems
There,
like
there no one's touching it.
Yeah,
But believe
same.
me, the CCP wouldn't let that happen. And the Chinese people shouldn't let it happen. The Mongolians should. Again.
The Mongolians were like some incredibly interesting people, though, man.
Yeah,
Like,
they were left alone.
they were like
forever.
superheroes. Their bows were 160 pounds to pull back, and they were shooting those things like machine guns.
Remember I was telling
You know
you
how
about
strong
the
you'd have to be?
Celtic peoples?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 500 BC. Well, the Celtic peoples ruled all of Europe,
Yeah.
all the way over to the Gobi Desert in China.
Real quick, I know I've said this to you before, but Genghis Khan was known to have red hair and eyes like a cat. And when they say eyes like a cat, they mean green eyes. So he was very rare. He was a green-eyed, red-haired giant man.
Yes,
So,
but what have they dug up? The archaeologists on the edge of the Gobi Desert have uncovered. Go ahead. Uncovered.
don't tell me what to do.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't
Sunday.
know. I'm
Father
joking. I'm
peer-
fucking with you.
peer
I don't know where I
pressure.
set my cap. You keep talking. I gotta find my carp cap.
They have dug up graves of people that are buried. And again, if you get buried in an arid region,
you dry out.
You naturally mummify.
Yeah, you mummify,
And
yeah.
they have dug up these graves. Women, long red hair.
Yeah.
Men, long red hair.
Well, don't they think from those steps is where blue eyes came from around 8,000 years ago or something
Very
like
well,
that?
possibly could have been.
Yeah, because blue eyes are the newest color of eye in our species.
Well, that's a combination.
And they're saying, I think I was watching a thing where saying purple might be one of the next eye colors in the next 3,000 years or something like that.
Old man lungs.
Oh, Dad. Anyone that watches this podcast know that I don't take big dabs. I'm just trying to have a good time. I'll take a bunch of dabs before I take a big dab. I need to be able to breathe so I can enjoy my
Me
dab.
too.
Take too big of a dab, I can't breathe.
Well, I don't like this when it's real hot.
Real hot, yeah.
It's not. That's one thing I wanted to talk about is, you talk about different types of weed and stuff.
Yeah.
Your generation has, this is a natural progression in how it should have went.
Yeah.
Okay? In the 60s, again, they were still watching Reefer Madness and the idiot in 1938 that said, well, you're going to jump out of a 6th floor window if you smoke marijuana.
smoke that
Yeah.
marijuana.
And I have a lot of friends and myself have smoked a lot of pot.
I don't
We've
see
been
that's why
we've
I
been
don't
looking
inhale.
for that 6th floor window pot, and we still haven't found it. Okay.
Honestly, like that's why I don't inhale for that reason, because I have always been so nervous. It's like a cigar, you just keep it in your mouth.
Well, that's not true. That's right.
You inhale it?
I don't inhale a cigar. You taste a cigar.
But what about the weed?
Weed?
Yeah.
You inhale weed.
Oh fuck, dude. You're crazy.
Well, you think about, well, again, we would buy bricks of Mexican
Yeah.
for $80 a kilo. Okay? And back then, it's the idea of having a set of scales.
Yeah.
First of all,
You measure with fingers, right?
Only the chemistry department at the high school might have a set of triple beams.
Yeah.
Okay? So that just really wasn't it. So you used your fingers. You
Yeah.
know? You sit there and, okay. And you have to have 16 bags,
Yeah.
right, for a pound. So and then you can't eyeball them,
Yeah.
And first come, first serve, and it was like $10, $15 for a bag.
How old were you when you first started smoking weed? Like, what was the first time you smoked weed?
Summer of, I think I was 12 or 13.
So that was what, 7?
No,
67?
67
So you've been smoking weed for a pretty long time.
for over half a century.
So when you were younger,
And all the stories they tell you about being brain dead.
Yeah.
And
you
going out
know
and-
too much. Is honestly like, I think some people are gonna listen to this podcast and be like, "Fuck, that was fun," and they're gonna want me to do like more of these spread throughout. And then some people are probably gonna want a lot more, and then some people are like, "I don't like history at all. I'm just trying to do weed, bro." But that's what it says. Like,
it's again.
I love- you're
part
my-
of this of smoking
yeah, it's talking.
is talking.
But that's where.
conveying different ideas, even as bizarre as they may be.
Have you ever heard of the Assassins? I don't know if I'm saying that right.
The Jacksons, yeah.
No.
The Jackson 5,
No,
right?
not them. No,
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
hat. Okay, it's like assassin with hash in front of it. It's
Oh
ha-
yeah,
the
yeah.
assassins. They were like the first assassins, like on recorded history. But they used like coffee and hash as their like spiritual thing, or they were like these like, I don't know. But that's all speculation too.
No, you're they were when the
Someone hired them.
Northern Africa, when Islam took over North Africa and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, they were a Muslim group. They were
Yeah, but
they were
they
excluded from everyone and became.
Yeah, but they were. There was a movie that came out. That
Yeah. Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. That it's a video or something.
Yeah,
too.
it's a video. It's one of them video games.
But the idea for that came from those people.
Yeah.
That is, and they were a real thing.
I just think it's kind of cool. Like, there's something about smoking like cannabis or hash and drinking coffee and just having conversation with people. Like, that's the one thing I miss about living close to you is like we would just talk. We would just talk like this. Like the first day you were here, we talked for probably 8 hours or 6 hours straight.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
again, nobody does that anymore. Everybody is a four words on
Yeah.
a cell phone.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting down and go. I mean, because part of talking is the whole body thing too.
Sometimes I find what I love about this is like people are seeing, because I usually do all the talking. Like I've said very few things this episode, and it's been really nice because it's like I'm actually
talk too much anyways.
Oh, I'm actually able to like listen to and like learn some things to talk about. I know a little bit. Like I watch a lot of history stuff. Like I love like conspiracy stuff, alien shit, but I love like real history too.
Again, when you say that, I said this to you.
I don't think
earlier,
of it. Yeah.
Of mankind, we are storytellers. We are oral historians.
Yeah.
Okay? So in every myth,
There's
as
some
bizarre as it may seem, there has to be a thread of truth in that. I mean, again, these ideas have not been around for a very long time. We're talking just in the last
10,000 years.
No, this way of thinking, like I'm
This
talking,
way of thinking. That's 1,500 years maybe.
50 years.
50 years. Oh.
50 years. Everything was controlled by religions
Yeah.
or by your group.
You're right. Yeah.
Instead
People were in
of-
like kingdoms
and that was part-
imperialism, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
I mean,
being a serf. And, you're talking about the assassins,
yeah.
right?
You said it
When
right.
you had, huh?
You said it right.
Thank you, son. Makes me feel so good. You do that, you throw my train of thought right the fuck
I know.
off.
I'm doing good.
I know. You do this all the time to me. I
So
forgot-
what's the craziest UFO you've ever seen? I feel like you've told me UFO stories.
Okay.
Tell me a couple.
All right. Everybody's...
Because we don't believe aliens built the pyramids, right? We believe that humans built them somehow. But like, I don't think it happened 3,000 or 5,000 years ago.
I know what my train of thought was, and that's exactly
We
where
brought
I
you
was
back.
going. You brought
Look
me
at
right
that.
back.
We're all
right
over
back.
the place.
Okay, so there has to be a shred of truth
And all myths.
and all myths and everything.
We're back.
Now you go back to the myths that we grew up with, that I was taught with about, were Greek,
Yeah.
Persian, and then Christianity on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay? So all these other myths of like, when I was a little kid, Thor.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah, for sure.
You started going, the Norse gods. Oh, okay. Then you start, Persians and, Zoroastrianism.
Yeah.
There's one God. Geez, these guys are saying this, and every religious group on the planet goes, there's one
It's
God.
really
Except for the
interesting.
Hindus,
Speaking
which
of
do their own
myth and
things.
being stuff like that, you know that like China has a flood myth that's about 5,000 years or 4,000 BC, so it's about 6,000 years old.
Yep.
And it's right around the same time as like supposed Moses' flood myth or whatever.
Well-
but what I'm confused about is because the last giant floods they have on record were during the Younger Dryas period around 9,000 BC. So that would have been like 4,000 before all
Noah
that.
was 900 years old.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, we're talking
bro,
time frames.
he had six arms, right?
Yeah, here's the whole deal.
I have no idea, it's like-
you cannot put.
But this is my-
standardized time
here's
didn't
my-
come into.
that's what I'm saying,
since
my-
railroads.
my point is, I'm like, maybe they said it was like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, but maybe that's the last time they re-recorded it. Maybe it actually happened about
Oral
9
history.
and 10,000 years ago. It was oral until then. It was written on paper.
Exactly.
That was the first recording they have of
Yeah,
it.
and so this must be when it started.
Yeah, because like, I mean,
The geological record shows that
yeah,
there are
because
things that happen.
yeah, because camels came from North America.
America.
Camels are from North America. They migrated over to like
Horses.
Asia, Africa, or horses are
Horses.
from here. Wolves.
This whole continent got blasted.
Yeah.
About anywhere from 13 to 16,000 years ago.
Yeah, it got wiped out.
It got blasted.
All the megafauna.
All the
wiped
megafauna just wiped out. And, well, you have the Clovis culture, okay?
Well, all Native American cultures in North America have stories about these giant floods and
all this
stuff.
All right. But you had the Clovis. No. The Clovis culture.
They proved they disproved Clovis.
No. The Clovis culture was like this, and bang, it disappeared. Then
they only call it that because what they found in Clovis, New Mexico, but they've like pretty much proven these are all different bloodlines. Like they're finding Aboriginal bloodlines and all sorts of stuff, like Polynesian mixed through, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Now there's a whole other group of people.
Yeah.
The people of the Pacific, the Polynesian groups, these people were amazing seafarers. They understood.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
I watch Moana every day with my daughter, so I'm like,
how did you learn about history? Disney.
Yeah, Disney.
But it's all colorful and lovely.
Yeah.
No.
But no, like the Polynesians, like I love their like
the Incas. The Incas were wannabes.
Did you ever see a theory that they went to Easter Island because they found little bits of Incan artifacts, but they think it was just there was probably some sort of boat that was just trading that came and touched down at one point that was Incan.
You have to remember too.
But they wonder if that's where they learned how to cut stone.
Sea levels were different.
Yeah, there was more land.
There was a lot more land.
Say
this is the geological record. These are the facts. The Everglades did not form till about 5200 BC, 5500 BC.
Yeah.
The Great Lakes didn't form until about 6000 BC.
Yeah,
we're talking 8,000 years.
After the big melt that happened around 11,000.
Anywhere.
11 to 9,000, somewhere in there.
I mean, and they know where the drainage points were.
Yeah.
The scab lands.
Yep.
The Badlands of the Dakotas, because that's where the Mississippi used to come from.
So all through the center of America, just a giant flood.
That was one. The English Channel is another one because
it happened over in Europe too. Like there was major floods. The whole ice cap across the top of the planet.
It was the top of the planet.
So do you think it was a mix of things, or do you think it was a meteor? Do you think it was a solar? Because like some people think it was like some sort of meteor strike during that time because during when it happened, we're going through what's the meteor belt called? Is it called the what's the name of the meteor belt we pass through twice a year? October and
I always say the Kuiper Belt's way
the
out.
Kuiper Belt. No,
is it the
it takes us 2 weeks to pass through. It's a 2-week period. Twice a year we go through the Kuiper Belt, and there's larger objects in there, and then sometimes we get caught by them.
It all depends on.
But some people think it was a coronal mass injection, like a giant solar flare from the sun.
See, I think it was
because they haven't found any.
I think this is my one scenario.
Tell me about it.
Something hit. Or like Tunguska, you had an air blast that was really big.
Tunguska happened around 1850, right? That was like in Russia, Tunguska, or was that Siberia?
1900.
1900.
Yeah, someplace in there. I always that date always.
Okay.
But that was an air blast, and I mean
flattened a huge area of trees.
Oh
if it happened over a city, tens of thousands would have died.
Well, if it happened over Denver, Denver would have been flattened.
Giant cities would have been squished.
Yeah. It just and. The glow in the sky when that happened
and an airburst
was seen in London.
I know, yeah.
So you're talking all the way across Asia.
Yeah, it was like a nuclear weapon went off in the sky.
Exactly.
And then created a pressure that went down and flattened everything beneath it. Guys, look up the Tunguska event. It's really interesting.
Okay, where was I? Okay, you have something bigger.
Yeah.
But not global killing or anything like that. But hits that upper ice sheet. Now, that one blast could take the center of it.
Make a super lake.
Make a super ocean.
Ocean, yeah.
Okay? And you have this heated mass.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, it could stabilize for a short period. That's why it was leaking, whatever.
There was a bunch of smaller floods.
3,000 or 4,000 year period where it's like how Doggerland disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like little bits of water was escaping, water levels going up, but then one day, somewhere between 8,000 and 11,000 years ago, that wall broke.
I would say 11,000.
Yeah, and then flooded down through North America because like New York used to be under a mile of ice, or a couple miles.
Well, where New York City is, all you got to do is go to Central Park, and all the ancient
Yeah, all the
alien-
rocks out there.
Yeah.
One time I went there the first time I got really stoned on weed. I was in Central Park and I saw some kids standing on one of those glacial deposit rocks or whatever they were, and I thought
An
they were gonna,
erratic,
and I
I
thought
think
they were
they're
gonna beat
called.
us up, so I got scared. and I went and got Cold Stone ice cream. But yeah, so yeah, you see it in Central Park. You can see like there's such old stone in like upstate New York, especially the mountain ranges and
Well,
stuff.
I tell you, you live in a place here that where we're staying is an ancient caldera.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing thing. You're going up all the roads, up the mountains, and all of a sudden you come over a peak and come down, and it's this whole different
And
topography.
a caldera is a giant volcano, everybody, if you don't know what that is.
It's like what's under Los Angeles, Yellowstone Park,
what's on
Naples,
Yellowstone.
Italy.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, one goes off, it really won't matter. We're all screwed.
Yeah, turns the planet into wintertime.
Yeah, it's not. It's bad.
Yeah, it's a bad time.
It's a bad.
That's what like, I mean, they think that most major extinctions have happened from volcanic events. Like we've almost gone extinct, I think, 2 or 3 times from volcanic events. Humans
There
alone.
was 70,000 years ago.
Yeah.
We almost blinked out.
Let's talk about all the different human species. We got the Denisovans, we have the Neanderthals, we have the Homo sapiens, and then there's one more I think that they're for sure of. They're smaller.
Well, again, how can you say that
But
that group's extinct when you have this group in Africa that are called pygmies?
we're all like mixed genetics nowadays. They find Neanderthal, they find little bits of Denisovan, I think in parts of Russia and some people. But here's my question: you know, in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
when you have the humans with the elves fighting the orcs, what if 70,000 years ago humans and all these species were more intelligent? And what if you had the Denisovans, you had the Neanderthals, and then you had the humans, and they were having these great wars like Lord of the Rings shit? They were riding on like giant like woolly mammoths and stuff. All sorts of crazy shit. Like, do you think that's what happened? Because I like to I think that's more fun.
I don't think this whole deal. We're like humans have a tendency.
Do you think
to
we're the
take
most
themselves-
advanced humans have ever been on Earth?
I doubt it.
I doubt it. I don't think we're the most advanced
if
we've
they
ever
can
been.
find a stone tool that's 2 million years old.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So
No.
I mean, it does not. I mean,
that's my point. Like
3000
any
BC, we went. Oh,
like,
hey, we're intelligent.
I don't know if like I mean you know about Göbekli Tepe, right? In
Yep.
Turkey.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's huge proof that they're like, okay, that's like 11 to 16,000 years old.
That's what I mean. They keep on dropping the date.
Yeah,
back.
it keeps
They're going,
going older and older.
Excuse us, it's a little older. Right,
So
right,
that should tell them that okay, there's proof that Egypt could easily be 10,000 plus years old because the Sphinx is definitely the erosion on it.
Egypt, as we know it, no.
Well,
But
they've built on
that-
top of older structures though. When you
Yes.
dig down underneath some of these pyramids, you find older stuff. So
There's a cycle in the Sahara Desert where it goes.
want to take one more dab?
Goes from like the Midwest
Yeah.
to desert.
Yep.
And they've traced, I think it's over 300 times this has happened.
Yeah.
And that has to do with precession.
Uh-huh.
That-
The tilt of the planet.
The tilt of the planet and how it goes on its axis.
What's the precession of the equinox? The great year is something like 26,000 years, right?
Yeah. It's that's the cycle. It's
Yeah.
26,000 year cycle.
That's a really interesting.
So our history only goes, back like.
But that's
the
that's why
Romans,
that's
you
why
know?
people like John Anthony West, Dr. Robert Schoch, people like that think that like the Sphinx is much older because of the water erosion, and then they base it. It used to look like a lion, and they recarved
Again,
the head.
you live in an area. Go out and look at the rocks.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Dwayne.
You
Tell
know,
what.
I mean,
I watch all his
if
movies.
you look at the Earth will tell you everything.
Yeah.
Don't listen to a bunch of. I'll tell you how to think. Go do it for yourself.
It's
That's
hard,
what I did
though.
with you
feel
when
like-
you
don't
were a
feel
kid.
Don't you feel like thinking is a luxury, though? Don't you feel like some people are in such a shitty spot working their ass off, killing themselves? It's hard to even try to think. Oh, they're just trying to
I
do
got to tell you something.
Don't you think-
I look at your grandparents, my parents. My mother remembered World War I ending. She was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And the way she knew World War I was ending, because all the church bells started ringing.
So she lived through World War I, Great Depression, World War II, and then
Korean
she
Wars,
lived through
Vietnam.
you,
Yeah.
her youngest child.
She actually said raising children in the 60s was harder than all that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was
Because
so much happening
all
in the
the
60s.
norms.
Do you think everything happening right now reminds you of the 60s a little bit with all like the
It's
like
you have
because all the protests,
you
all
have
that,
that old money that's as old as Rome.
yeah.
And
Older Samaria.
wealth doesn't disappear.
No.
It moves around.
Definitely.
And a group controls that wealth.
It just transfers and shifts.
That's right. And like I was telling you about, during World War II, GM sued the United States government because the factories they had in Nazi Germany got blown up by the Allies. So, they wanted reparations.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
and I'm sure some people go, oh, no, that didn't happen.
So
it's one of those, look at the legal record.
So what you're saying is, what's your craziest UFO you've ever seen? If you've seen, I've never really seen a
Only
UFO.
once. And again.
I've never seen a UFO. I
don't know what I saw was, but it was just, and I smoke pot all the time, but, it was 7 o'clock up at Charlie Ryan's, sitting on his back deck. I was picking Mom up, and it was still light out, but the moon was there. Had one bright object, zip.
Yeah.
Another one come down. They both stopped. I had enough time to tell Mom to turn around and look, and she sees them, and then they both go off in different directions.
That's great. I feel like I've heard a lot of that story. The same thing you see, like two lights, and they kind of like.
Back in.
Do you want to hit this real quick?
No, I'm all set
You're
right
set?
now. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm right in the middle of a thought.
Oh, sure.
This is 1979. Mom and I are driving out to Oswego, where the 3 nuke plants are, and Grandpa Dick lived.
Yeah.
And everybody pulls off the road because coming down the center of the Oswego River, just below the treetops, is something revolving with lights on it. I don't know what it was because I have to see something clear.
I bet you it was some cool billboard
See,
for like a new frozen yogurt place or something.
no one had yogurt. Yogurt was this white shit that nobody ate, okay? Because it was so bad.
No, it's probably they probably had some cool like lychee balls or like cool poppers or something.
Oh yeah, in Minetto.
Yeah.
Maybe in Oswego,
Shit. Man. Well, Dad, this was super fun.
It was fun.
We did it. We did an hour, and I think we should try to find a way to do it more because this was really cool. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. This conversation was more just me and my dad hanging out. Usually we face the camera and just talk to you guys, but today I just wanted to share a conversation with my dad. It was super fun catching up. I'm stoked you're going to be here for the next month and a half or so, hanging out with the baby.
Yeah, I had no choice.
Helping
we
us.
went across America.
You don't sound too excited about it, but I'm sure the baby
I'm
is.
not.
You're not excited to hang out with the baby. You're not excited to hang out with the baby? Do you know what you're saying right now?
No, I don't.
I think I got you in a trap.
Oh, no.
Yeah, your head hurts. Okay, that's good. You'd be a great politician. Oh, my head
That's
hurts.
right.
I gotta lay down.
Deflect.
Awesome. Well, thank you all guys for hanging out. Don't forget to check out our website, www.bmsglass.com. This is my father, Joe. We hung out today. We talked. It was fun. You guys have an awesome Sunday. Thank you. Sick.